Yeah, Artax. How am I supposed to remember? That's a crazy name. That is a crazy name.
Can we just say that the boy who plays Atreyu goes from like a level 5 to a level 45 in like moments? Oh, Artax, I know what's wrong. You can't get out the...
It's true. Hello, welcome to Load Bearing Beams. I'm Matt Stokes.
And I'm Lacey Roth.
And who do we have on the line? Our special guest.
We have a film talk star, one of my very first connections there, and he is freaking amazing. It is Drooby Dooby Movies.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
We're thrilled to have you. We're going to hear all about Drew and the Doobie movies and Drooby Dooby's movies.
I get the Doobie part now. Okay, go ahead.
What? Tell me.
Oh, I don't know if it's public knowledge.
It's in his bio.
Okay, I don't care. Yeah.
You say it.
Yeah, it is my bio. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Because of the weed. All right, go on.
Yeah.
So, we are doing one of Matt's movies next, and it is Jingle All the Way. This is your movie, dude.
I wanted to pick a Christmas movie.
I married a guy that's into this movie, though.
I'm not saying I'm into it.
I think you're kind of saying it. Okay.
We will.
Maybe I'll like it.
We'll see if I like it. I'm sure it sucks. I don't know. We need something fun to talk about for the holiday season.
I like Schwarzenegger with a child.
But just FYI, next week, Thanksgiving week in the United States, we will be off. But the week after that begins our holiday movie coverage with Jingle All the Way.
Not because we want to be off, but because this school refuses to keep our children when they're not technically
That's it,
working,
yes.
Which is bullshit.
Yes, so Jingle All the Way. It's on Disney Plus in the month of November, and I know all of you will watch it in preparation for the episode that we do.
So nice of you to prepare that.
Yes.
Right.
Drew, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about your TikTok channel, how you got it started, what your
many
approach
likes
is?
he's got. That's a bunch of likes, Drew.
Yes.
Well, I've been doing this now for a little over a year, which is kind of surprising. It snuck up on me, but I started it when my collection was pretty small and I was still growing, and I found like that haul videos were a thing, and I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed watching other people's hauls. So I kind of mainly just wanted to talk about my collection and I just want to talk about movies in general. And I have a couple of friends here that I go and watch movies with, and I talk movies, but for the most part, I don't have a lot of people to reach out and talk to movies about. So I thought that would be a good space to do that in. And so far it's been amazing. And all the people that I've connected with have just been amazing and wonderful and nice. And everyone, it's a good space, especially in like the smaller space, because everyone is really like kind and nice about their opinion. People can still share different opinions and have a civil conversation. So it's nice.
I also it's hard to find people in the real world to talk about movies with if you like them a lot.
Wait, can I say something?
Yeah.
I need to say something maybe dumb, but
Okay.
I didn't know we were unique. I didn't know it wasn't we. I didn't realize we didn't have anyone else like us until I met all these people like us. I always had a Blockbuster at my mini apartments. I married into a Blockbuster as well, and we combined our collection, and I just thought, oh, that's a fun quirk about us. And then I was like, other people too. Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
Anyway.
Which is
That's how I felt.
Yeah, I thought this is just a weird obsessive collecting thing that I collect other shit too. That's what it is. But it's like, oh wait, no, I have a well-rounded knowledge of movies who I didn't even know I did.
When we first were talking about starting the podcast, I told my brother about it, and he said, I don't think people care about movies anymore. And I was like, yeah, I think that's just sort of a normal person
A normie thing
to think. Yeah. So it is nice. It is nice that there's a world out there. I got to say, your videos are like very dangerous for me to watch, because I'm like, oh, I could get that and I could get that. Like it would involve the slightest shove off the cliff of me just totally bankrupting us buying Blu-rays.
We're there anyway.
Yeah, it's a dangerous slope to go on. Sometimes I get a little out of hand, but it balances out. Sometimes I go crazy and then I don't do anything for like a month or two, so.
Well, I think you're doing 30 Days of Criterion right now.
Yeah, trying my best to. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get all 30 days in, but I think right now I'm shooting for like 2025. I just watched another one the other day, but it's going good so far. I've been having a lot of fun, and I'm gonna watch another one today. Actually,
how do you
after this,
decide which ones you're going to get or what you're going to cover?
So usually, what I've been covering has been movies that I haven't watched yet that have been in my collection because I have a nasty habit of doing that, and so I've been trying to watch all those movies I haven't watched to justify me buying those movies, right?
Yep,
And
Same.
but the way I buy Criterions is I usually go in getting something that I've been wanting, so I'll satisfy that need, and then I get something that I have heard of but I have never seen, and then usually I'll do a blind foreign buy. Like I'll try to get at least one foreign movie that I don't like have never heard of or anything, and just if I read the synopsis and I think it's interesting, I'll get that because I've been really trying hard to broaden my horizons into the foreign movie worlds, and it's been amazing so far, so I've been trying to keep at it.
Would you say TikTokers or film talkers influenced you to do that? Because that is kind of happening to me. I've always been a no subs, no dubs, I can't read kind of a person, but I love Parasite. I'm sure there's another example I can't think of.
I mean, you liked Squid Game.
Well, was that subtitles?
Yeah.
I don't even remember it that way.
It showed me that you could watch stuff with subtitles.
This one I could learn. Thank you, sir.
Well, I just know you have that blog. You have dyslexia, and it's not a simple matter of like not wanting to read stuff on screen, but it is
right. But that's how you know you've stumbled into a good movie, right? I mean, it's like it's funny how little the words, how much they matter when you see the emotion and everything else on the screen.
Yeah, and you can, even if you like miss something that somebody says, you can. You'll find you don't actually need to know everything everybody's saying.
Right.
Yeah. Your videos did inspire me to I felt like I've been just watching nothing but garbage lately. So I went on Criterion Channel and watched Ingmar Bergman's The Seventh Seal to feel like a real sophisticate, nice. Which I hadn't.
I haven't dove into his stuff yet. He's probably up next in my Criterion situation because I've been dying to start out. But you, how did you like Seventh Seal?
Well, I had not seen it since high school when I watched a lot of Bergman movies, and I absolutely did not understand it when I was back then. I will say, as a bitter 36-year-old, it spoke directly into my soul.
Oh,
it is all about just like the bleakness of life. I should be there in Sweden in 1957. Yeah.
Can I ask a dumb question? What makes something a criterion?
Well,
I don't know what that
good
means.
Question.
What's the criteria?
So I mean, it's a lot of foreign films, art house films, classic, but I don't know. It feels like they've traditionally it was just those categories, but they seem like they're expanding a little bit to include more Hollywood stuff.
But I mean, it's a maker of what?
It's a distributor they produce DVDs and Blu-rays,
and what they give you is something like more substantial than buying a DVD from like wherever, Best Buy or whatever, right? The art, the box, that's what I'm learning.
So
the extras.
Usually when you're paying for a Criterion, basically what you're paying for is not only those bonus materials. Usually they have like Criterion interviews, and they sometimes have full documentaries about the making of the movie on there. They have a bunch of like smaller stuff that's usually in there, but you also are paying for the restoration of the film itself. So a lot of like what Matt was saying was that they used to do a lot of older movies and stuff because they would restore that film and make it look better and brighter and nicer. But now they're kind of seeping into like newer stuff because I think that now people are more not more hung up on, but the boxing and the movie itself and those bonus materials. But yeah, it all started in like restoring film and printing it out to the masses to where it used to not be like that.
Right. Okay.
So. And it is usually you are paying, I don't know, $5 more per disc, but for a much greater production value and usually higher quality art and just a nicer physical object. But the main thing is, the restoration of the print of the film print itself. Right.
And supporting not a soulless production entity, but a company interested in the preservation of the art of it.
And thinking of physical media as important and not just like a division of a giant company that we are trying to get rid of, or
not just some merch, but the actual. Right, the importance of keeping the physical thing.
Yeah.
Because what if you don't have a backup on the cloud? You know what I'm saying? Okay.
So the NeverEnding Story is the movie we're talking about today. Drew, you brought this to us. Can you tell us why you picked this movie and what your history is with it?
Yes, I can. This is a classic grandma and grandpa visiting movie for me. I went to my grandma and grandpa's every other weekend, basically. My mom had me when she was somewhat young, so my grandparents were awesome, and they obviously wanted us there, so it's like she would drop us off there, be able to go have fun, be a young adult still, and this VHS was in there all the time for me. Yes, VHS. And I remember hating that I had to wait to rewind it to put it back in to watch it again because I was like, I'm just wasting time.
I know.
I need to hear that banger again.
The song,
sweet sound.
Do you feel that Stranger Things helped or hurt that banger? Because they have a whole episode about it, right?
It's a part of it became a big meme. There's the two of the characters in that show sing the song to each other, and that brought this
it revived
movie back into the zeitgeist because every child under 18 loves Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I've never seen Stranger Things. So.
Oh my god.
No, you don't need to.
I know. I'm not a huge TV guy anymore. It's bad. Like I just have so many fucking movies I need to see.
No, yeah, it becomes a job.
Same. Yes. Well, movies are better. I watched this Stranger Things clip out of context, and it looks like shit. That show looks, just looking at it looks like a commercial. Go look up that clip. Right. If you're not used to the palette, to just the way the digital look of it, you will be shocked at how shitty it is.
Okay.
But yeah, so did this movie, thing people always say about this movie is how traumatizing it was for them, how scary it was for them as a kid. Was that the case with you?
No, I did not find. I think the way that the characters held themselves and talked and everything was just goofy. Goofy in a way, but relaxed enough for me not to be scared. Because I feel like I was still at that ripe age where all of this was so not realistic, but that imagination was just running wild. So I didn't find it scary, but I definitely was a little somewhat on edge about a couple characters. I think if I remember correctly, the snail for some reason freaked me out. I don't know why.
The racing snail?
It was the racing snail. Yeah, the way it was eating that food and stuff. I was like, oh no, I would not ride a racing snail. But no, other than that, I really wasn't scared. I would say the Dark Crystal was probably more scary to me than the NeverEnding Story,
which I've never seen.
Because I think the Dark Crystal is a little more darker too, in a way. So
I watched the Dark Crystal last week. I've watched a bunch of movies to sort of get in the space for this because I'd never seen the Dark Crystal.
I've never seen it.
And Lacey and I did an episode a few years ago about the witches, about the Angelica Houston movie, The Witches, and we were talking about how there's sort of a genre of
child horror
movies for children,
yes,
basically,
which does not exist anymore.
Yeah, now, I watched the NeverEnding Story. I don't think it applies. We mentioned it back then, but watching it now, I don't think it's
so dark.
It's dark,
but NeverEnding Story is dark.
I don't think they're trying to scare you.
I don't think they're trying to.
See, I think the labyrinth is even scary. It's that. I feel like there's not that. This the NeverEnding Story has way too much hope in it to be true. Like that, because I never lose hope and the Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, I damn near start to lose hope and shit. I'm just like, this is too much.
Well, and Babes in Toyland, that's another one that's fucked up when you watch it as an adult.
Oh, no, I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Yeah, no, most people haven't.
Well, is that one of your? Are we doing an episode on that in the future?
Yeah, it's one of my.
Okay.
Drew Barrymore and Keanu Reeves are the leads.
Oh, sold. I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's like not Drew's first movie because that was probably E.T. right, but it's third or something.
Well, you seen this, Lacey? NeverEnding Story.
That flying dog, I know it's not a dog, is baked in. But I had a suspicion there were going to be some of the things on my list that make it not a load-bearing beam, and it does have those things.
But because you had seen it, you liked it.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. If the thing is, if I really loved something at that time, I watched it over and over and over again, and it got baked in. This one did not, and so I was suspecting child danger, and I was right. Okay, but I think it's not that. I can palate child danger. I think why this movie wouldn't have stuck when I was younger is because it stays worrisome almost all the way until the end. I don't, I'm just like,
but you never lose hope, though.
You don't. But what are they going to do with that boy? And where's his parents? And why doesn't he have a dad at all? Or
we'll talk about this dad.
I'm talking about Atreyu. Atreyu's got no family.
Well, okay, yes, that's true, but
it makes me scared.
You don't want a family if this is the dad you get, Bastian's dad.
Mr. Bucks.
Yeah,
is his fucking name Bastian Bucks?
Bastian Balthazar Bucks.
Whoa.
I had never seen this movie until 2023. I remember like a sort of like in school rainy day TV on a cart situation where I thought where they said we're going to watch the NeverEnding Story, but the movie we ended up watching was The Secret Garden.
Oh.
And for a long time I thought that The Secret Garden was the NeverEnding Story. But then, I saw the poster for NeverEnding Story, which had a flying dog dragon on it. And I was like, that wasn't in the movie we watched. So
kind of the opposite.
If I had watched this movie as a kid, I think I would have really dug it because I liked weird, trippy, scary things. Well, animation more than I don't know. Like I loved Alice in Wonderland and I loved like Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland. I don't know if this would have scared me. I don't know.
Maybe
but
if it had been called the NeverEnding Storyland, you'd been down with it.
It would have been more palatable.
Okay. Great.
So I watched this movie for the first time like earlier this year, not knowing we would do an episode on it. I just wanted to watch it because it was a big blind spot for me. And I really liked it because
puppets
and production design more than anything else. Yes. Just like this is an oasis.
It's a Metallica moment because Matt is a puppet master.
It's true.
Anything with a puppet, he's fucking there. It's like the only thing that saves Beetlejuice.
It's top notch.
But now I've watched it 2 more times since then. My Letterboxd list, this will be my most watched movie for this year.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Weirdo.
Okay, let's hear what we do on Load Bearing Beams is before we watch the movie, we record a prediction and we see how it aligns with how we ultimately felt. Let's hear from Lacey first.
I think I'll like it, and I bet it's smarter than I remember it because I thought of it as a kid's movie, but maybe it's even more elaborate and beautiful than I realized. But I have a suspicion there is something too sad about it because it did not become a load-bearing beam of mine, although I remember it, or I remember watching it multiple times as a kid. My guess is there's probably really realistic kid crying. I don't deal well with that. I'm sure it'll have awesome puppets and visuals.
I wasn't wrong.
I'm hoping it's funny too.
This music, Matt. This fucking music. That was excruciating. I hate when you make me listen to myself. And I was whispering because you were on the other side of the fucking wall and I sound like I want to talk about a sexy movie and I love it. That's what happened. All right.
You get performance anxiety. Let's hear from me.
Okay. Why do you get this movie?
Watched this movie a few months ago and I liked it. So I'm sure I have not changed much as a man since then. But the question is, I liked it so much because of the practical effects and the puppets and just comparing it to everything that gets made now. If I look past all that and just look at it as a movie, what am I going to think? And I've also been doing so much research on this movie and I'm in the middle of reading the book and I know how unhappy the author of the book was with the movie. So will I see what he is seeing? I don't know. It remains to be seen. And maybe I'll be more critical of the main kid actors. I don't know. They were fine to me a few months ago, but we'll see what happens.
Harsh on kid actors. Just like their parents. All right, let's hear Drusuf.
All right, I am about to pop in the NeverEnding Story. I have not watched this movie in quite literally over 10 years. It has been a decade. I remember this movie shaping my childhood. I watched it multiple times, and right now I really can't remember shit about it other than the fact that Atreyu drowns and dies a slow, painful death while the kid is just screaming his dick off. and that scarred me for life. And I think that's why I never really went back to watch it, is because I knew that was a part in the movie and I didn't want to experience that anymore. But I am a grown man now, and I'm gonna get through it like a grown man. And I think it's gonna be good, man. I think it's gonna hold up. I don't think it's gonna be the best movie ever, obviously, but I don't think it's anywhere near a bad movie. So I'm excited to watch it. I think I'm gonna enjoy it. We'll see what happens. We'll see what I don't like, and we'll see what I do like. But I think overall, I think it's gonna be a great time, and I am excited to pop this in the DVD player.
Everyone got cooler music.
Off the rails a little bit there.
I like your interpretation. Can we still drown Atreyu? Is that still on the?
That's how long I haven't seen it. I totally forgot that it was Atreyu was the boy's name, not the horse's name.
Oh, okay. Because I remember you did say in like a message that you're worried you're going to cry when the horse dies. So I can say for a fact that he was thinking of the horse, though he did not name the horse.
Yeah, Artax. How am I supposed to remember that crazy name? That's a crazy name.
Can we just say that the boy who plays Atreyu goes from like a level 5 to a level 45 in like moments? Oh, Artax, I know what's wrong. You can't get out the...
It's true. I am very...
fucking shit.
I have nothing but praise for Mr. Noah Hathaway as Atreyu, because he has to act against a horse and puppets and nothing the whole time while
what about the pit of
getting
mud
thrown around mud and
you almost ruined this movie for me by saying this kid was borderline abused during the making of it. It's like, why you gotta put that shit in my fucking head?
Well,
okay,
no,
got a good performance.
Hey, Shelley Long.
Was it the best movie you'd ever seen upon rewatch?
No, it's not the best movie I've ever seen, but it was good. I had a good time.
I think 2 out of the 3 of us had a good time with this.
Fantastic.
We'll find out which one of us didn't.
Wait, here's what I like about load bearing beam movies is that you might not like totally feel the same excitement or whatever, but with the beats, you see yourself in it. You see like, that's why I liked it. That's why, oh my God, that's so me. Fuck yeah, that's why I like that still to this day. Like, there's just these little moments where you're like, I really do see the formation of my fucking likes and dislikes in this.
It's kind of like the NeverEnding Story yourself. You project into it. Your personality becomes a part of the story.
I'm going to go pee.
No, I'm not even kidding. I mean, that is kind of what our podcast is about, and what the movie is getting at thematically is Bastian has this sadness inside of him, and it manifests as the nothing within the story. Everybody who reads a book is going to come away with different things and notice different things. And even when we rewatch a movie or reread a book, we notice things
depending on our framing
differently. Yeah.
Right. And having a kid with a disability, and it just fucking ruins all movies. Hey, there was no one with autism that I felt in this movie.
Yeah.
That's like the first movie in 7 that I haven't sprinkled someone with autism dust.
It's true. It's true. Let's learn about the history of the NeverEnding Story. It starts with Mr. Michael Ende, who published the book The NeverEnding Story in 1979. It was a phenomenon in Germany. I should say West Germany, because there were 2 Germanys at the time. In West Germany, this is like a Harry Potter level phenomenon, this book. 113 straight weeks on the bestseller list. Didn't get published in the English-speaking world until 1983, but...
and then immediately became a movie? What is the year of this movie?
In advance of the movie.
Oh, okay.
1984.
Got it.
Now, I know the book, at least the original German edition of the book, has different colored lettering for whether you're reading like the real world story of Bastian or if you're reading from the NeverEnding Story
Just
itself.
like the Bible, where the words are read if it's Jesus.
I cannot figure out if that's still the case. The ebook, because I read this book over the past few weeks, all the text was the same.
Okay.
Yes. Now the book became a big favorite of anti-nuclear activists in Germany at the time, because it's all about like basically the message. You can't let the nihilism, the hopelessness creep in and grab you. And it's that's like a very fungible metaphor for so many different things. Like, climate change activists could easily see this today.
I'd be like, fuck it. Or no, opposite. All is not lost.
Well, yeah, you can't just surrender and say like, I'm just gonna let the nothing take me. Yes, huge phenomenon in Germany. German production company Constantin Film and the producer of this movie, Bernd Eichinger, acquire the rights to the book, and they involve Michael Ende, the author. He comes aboard as an advisor, and I've read conflicting accounts whether he was gonna write the screenplay or not. There's a lot of confusing reporting about the development of this movie, and I think it happening in Germany and maybe being covered by German press means like I don't have the same like access to sources that I would for a Hollywood movie.
Okay.
But I'm just saying there's a lot of conflicting things about this movie because the author of the movie either does or does not try to sue the movie to keep it from being released. We'll get to that. So they hire a director, Helmut Dietl, to direct, but he drops out because they start making these very expensive puppets and these great special effects, and he gets overwhelmed and says, like, I'm not equipped to handle this kind of production.
He's no puppet man.
So they find Mr. Wolfgang Petersen.
These are just the most German names I've ever heard in my life.
Yes. Wolfgang Petersen, who just died last year. Born in 1941 in Lower Saxony, Germany. Grew up in post-war West Germany. Went to school in Hamburg, film school in Berlin, and he worked very extensively in German television, directed a lot of made-for-TV movies in Germany. But in 1981, his second theatrical feature is a movie called Das Boot, which was
not the giant thing you drink out of with all the beer.
No, that is what. So you haven't seen it then, because that is what it's about.
Okay.
This movie Das Boot comes out. It's the most expensive German production ever, and it is like an international blockbuster. It's like the most successful German film ever made at that point. Have you seen Das Boot, Drew?
No, I haven't yet. It's been on my list for so long. I really need to watch it.
What, you've heard of it? Oh, this is bullshit.
Yeah, I've heard of it though, for sure.
It looks like a water movie. I'm out.
It's a submarine movie.
Nope, fuck that.
I love submarine movies, but I had avoided this movie until last weekend when I watched it. But I avoided it because I'd heard it's so stressful. And I was like, well, my life is stressful. I don't need that. But it is so good.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You know how I feel about small spaces. Okay.
No, it's a very claustrophobic movie, but it really is great.
All right.
And then, he goes on to have like one of the most successful Hollywood careers of the 90s.
You got to give me a Harrison Ford warning. Oh, yes. Okay.
What about a Monkey from Outbreak warning?
Oh, no, less of a warning on that.
So yes, directs In the Line of Fire, Outbreak, Air Force One, The Perfect Storm, Troy. And I think there was like discussion about him when he died is like, what do we make of him as a director? Is he just like a journeyman?
Does he thriller.
What is the through line between all these movies?
Thrills and chills.
Thrills and chills.
Sex appeals.
I mean, I just think of him as like a just very solid sort of craftsman working in really big budget and working on the kinds of movies that Hollywood doesn't make anymore, that loved to make in the 90s and 2000s.
And handling puppets like an Outbreak.
Yes.
All those monkey puppets.
There weren't real monkeys in that?
I don't fucking know.
I've never seen Outbreak.
I've surely seen it.
It was like big early pandemic. Everybody was watching it again.
What is this slide, Matt?
Oh, so I took some quotes from the author. Yes, the author was not happy about what they were doing with his book. And again, I can't tell at what stage of the production he exited and when he got mad. Was it because he alleged that they stopped that he helped write a script and then they rewrote it without involving him, and he didn't see it until a few days before the movie was released. And they only adapted the second half of his novel. And he seemed to think they only took the most superficial bits from his novel.
Okay. And
really erased the point of his message. You watch the movie and it seems to be the takeaway is like the power of the imagination. It's so important to read books, isn't it, kids? But the message of the book is a lot more complicated than that.
Okay.
Which
I do like the theme of adults are bad. I do like that theme. That's the theme of this movie. Just as fucking stupid, Dad. It's a huge deal for me when children are not taken seriously, when they are thought of as lesser, when an adult talks to a child in a way that they wouldn't talk to another adult. Fully fuck you. So I do appreciate that this movie does not like that dad. They better not like his dad.
No, I don't think he likes. I think that the dad is responsible. I think the dad is the nothing.
He's the nothing.
That's my takeaway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we'll get to the dad. We'll spend an hour and a half talking about the dad.
Look at those nipples. Why do you have nipples here?
Because the author specifically, Michael Ende, did not like the nipples on the statues.
Well, okay. I point to you exhibit nipple right behind me here.
Uh-huh.
Aladdin, Atreyu. You want to know the connection besides the vest and the dark hair? No nipples. The Atreyu shirt opened many times. It's like they blurred out his nips.
I think they were respectful. Listen to yourself. We want more of this child's nipples.
I mean, I don't. Well, then why give him a shirt that constantly reveals his nipples if they're not going to show some nip? What I'm saying is, the lady statues, nipple city, double standard.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, continue.
I guess.
No,
I look at that and I'm like, Germans. They love. I don't know.
The German guy said he didn't like the tittied statue.
Yeah, but he's like an author. He's like a stuffed shirt sort of intellectual.
All right, go on with your
like
boring
Wolfgang
history
Petersen,
lesson.
more man of the people. Like the people want big-breasted statues.
If you're going to take the big breasts off the boy,
I had a good time.
Okay,
good time.
Great.
And then the ending of the movie, and this is a story that they tell on the Blu-ray release of the movie. They have a like 25 years later making of, and this is all obviously from Wolfgang Petersen's perspective. And he says that the author just didn't like their ending, where Bastian goes into the real world with Falkor the Luck Dragon and gets revenge on his bullies.
I thought that might have happened in his imagination.
Well, it's definitely
that's how I take it.
It's definitely his imagination.
Okay, then.
I read the book to get ready for this, and I would say like that is very much not in line with what the book is, because the second half of the book has Bastian like basically going mad with power. Recreating all these things in Fantasia. In the book, it's Fantastica. Going mad with power and basically using his power to like just get revenge and glorify himself.
Okay.
And so the movie kind of ends with that, but in a celebratory way.
And I think they made the right choice there for a kids movie. I don't know that it would. If NeverEnding Story 2 was just how deprived Bastian had become with his power.
Yeah, but he doesn't like. In the movie, you would think it'd be about him going on a journey of learning that he needs to get in touch and process the death of his mom.
Right.
He needs to actually heal.
I do feel like that connection, his empowerment maybe does come a little too late in the movie for it to really like build and make you think, oh, he's a changed boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're still in the fucking history, Matt. Come on.
No, we're done.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, wait, no.
It's a hit.
The movie is a big worldwide hit. It is the most expensive movie ever made outside of.
You want to know why? German propaganda. All right, go ahead.
The most expensive movie ever made outside the U.S. or the Soviet Union. Makes $100 million worldwide. Steven Spielberg helps Wolfgang edit it for the U.S. release, but it is not that big of a hit in the United States. And Wolfgang Petersen said it was too European for Americans, which I take to mean too stupid. Or Americans are too stupid.
Yeah, that's what. See, so Drew was just a smart boy.
I think so. That's my takeaway. But they made a sequel in 1990 with no involvement from the original creative team, no actors return other than Mr. Coriander, the bookseller.
Because he was definitely the most charismatic of them all. God, was he a creep.
Were you a fan of the sequel, Drew?
I can't. I think I did not watch that much as a kid. I think I watched that like at least once. I was thinking about, because I had the DVD copy that has the first one and the second one. So I was thinking about maybe watching the second one, just see what was up with it. But I really can't remember anything about it.
So even the boy is different. I see. Who's the man who's trying to hypnotize me right there? Is that David Bowie?
That's NeverEnding Story 3, which came out another 4 years later. Also had totally different cast and crew.
Why is the Slytherin guy there?
This is
I don't
know.
From Harry Potter. I can't.
Don't know. I know that NeverEnding Story 2 at least took elements from the second half of the novel, and then part 3 was just a totally original thing. But I don't know. I had plans to watch both. I didn't.
You'd be insufferable if you had. You're always the most educated person on the podcast. Calm down.
Okay.
Oh, fucking knowing German history and shit. All right, come on.
So.
Sorry. You always say I hurry you along too much.
There is a lot of conflicting reports about whether or not a remake is in production. In 2022, there were a lot of stories that came out about a bidding war for the rights to the novel. But no actual, I was just digging through all these stories and I never found any like confirmation that anybody had actually made a purchase. There was like this fake AI image of Disney doing a NeverEnding Story. I guess streaming series probably, but that's
everything's a fucking series.
I don't know if I feel like the sort of IP gold mine is kind of over.
Yeah.
I don't know if this would be successful if they made it again.
If they just wait a couple years and we're thirsty again for nostalgia berries, then.
But I don't
know. I feel like there's a rich world in this one. At least it does. I could see there being lots of things to dig into, in a way that other things that are remade are just like, who this isn't even an interesting world to live in.
They made a His Dark Materials show on HBO, and I don't know anybody who watched that, even though it ran for a few years.
What is that? Harry Potter?
No, that the Golden Compass.
Right, boring.
What do you think, Drew? Would you be interested in a remake?
I think it depends on what it looks like, on what route they go. Like, are they going to super animate everything? Are they going to super CG everything? I mean,
exactly.
They probably would. So I feel like it just depends on how it's handled. I could see the story itself being successful, but I don't know. It's interesting because like these kind of stories were so huge in that era of movie making and time period, and I just don't think it would connect with at least the younger audience.
Too much child danger.
Nostalgia factors. Yeah.
Maybe that's what made it European, because I know when I first started watching the anime movies, help me.
The Miyazaki movies?
Yeah, I remember at first not connecting to them because of the lack of supervision of children and talking to them really mean. And so maybe that's the European thing. Maybe they just aren't as gentle and as coddling with kids. And
they give you a cigarette when you're like age 4
and burn you with it on your nipples. And that's why you don't have any nipples. So I could see it. I feel like I don't think our kids are any less coddled now. They might even be a little bit more, because now we don't even show like sexual relationships in movies and stuff, right? So he definitely can't have sex with that dragon, is all I'm saying. Why even remake it if you can't have sex with the dragon? I mean, there was something between them. You can tell that, right? This, Atreyu and the luck dragon. Am I the only one? Okay.
No, I get it. Okay. I get it. I don't
the way you're looking at me. I need a filter over your face.
I know.
Okay.
No, it would definitely be just a CGI nonsense fest.
They can't be so blind as to not realize like half of the reason people still like it is because of the puppets. I mean,
you would think so,
iconic
but
all right.
No, I think they always are like, but we're gonna do it right this time. We're gonna
puppet it right.
Yeah, but it's very difficult. Okay, let's talk about the movie.
I feel like we've already done that.
Yes. So the song, the NeverEnding Story, the song.
Drew's favorite. He got married to it.
Yes, that's true.
No, it's not true.
I wish.
Missed opportunity.
A great idea. Shit, we're gonna have to get remarried.
Just okay, you can renew.
Oh, I have a question for the panel, for my esteemed colleagues. We talk about the puppets and everything, and if you read reviews from the time, people were kind of dismissive of the movie as just like a special effects extravaganza. But it's like you watch it today and you're like, you had no idea what you lived in paradise and you didn't know what you had.
Oh, right.
In not appreciating the practical effects and the animatronics and the production design and all that. So I know this is a difficult question to answer, but like, what today is getting made that we won't appreciate until like 30 years from now?
That's impossible. Stranger Things, you jerk. Well, I mean, because for the reason computers aren't going to not exist later. Maybe because our movies are not too overly saturated with de-aged actors who've already passed their prime, so we're repurposing them. Maybe in the future, everything will just be actors that have already existed, de-aged, and
I think that's it.
I think I've nailed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God! Remember when we had real
crazy.
people in movies?
Right. Remember when it's truly like
Remember
no one
when
can
AI
rise
didn't
up.
write movies?
No actors can get any more
Yeah.
gigs because we've just figured out how to use all of our favorites for the rest of our life. Oh, I've discovered it. Oh, this power is too hard for me to wield alone.
Yeah, that I think you might be right. I was gonna say, Drew said earlier he doesn't watch much TV, and I'm kind of the same way. Like, well, but movies. I know I've like dismissed like every good TV show, saying like this should have just been a movie. It'd be so much better if it were a movie. So I could see like 20 years from now going back to a show and being like, oh, I dismissed this just because I thought it would have
Dragged on.
It didn't need to exist, but like look at the production values, look at the performances. That's what I can see.
I like prestige TV.
This song is by Limahl.
Ooh.
Written by Giorgio Moroder, mega composer and songwriter producer. And this was a big hit. It was a top 20 single in America at the time, and then brought back into the zeitgeist a few years ago because of Stranger Things. But we meet our hero, Bastian Balthazar Bucks. And
if they wanted him to have his feet on the ground, why this name? Maybe the mom was the one with all the flights of fancy. It has to be, right? She encouraged his imagination. Business dad drinking orange juice with a milk in it. No, orange juice with an egg, a raw egg in it, blended, is what that motherfucker's drinking. That's how you know he's a monster.
Yeah, because he's like, I don't even have time to make breakfast. I gotta get to my job and make my widgets. Like, time is money. Gotta make stuff. This Bastian is played by Barrett Oliver is the name of the actor. He was from Cocoon and the original Frankenweenie. And then the dad is played by Gerald McRaney, who we know from Deadwood, among a million other things.
I knew you look familiar.
But I can't. This is crazy.
It's over the top business dad, right? Like, is there a meaner dad, Drew, in all of the 80s? I can't think of one.
No, ruthless. Just straight to the point, too. He's like, I miss mom. And he's like, okay, we'll get over it. And we're going to work and you're going to school and you're going to live life. Okay, bud?
Right.
I mean, he literally says, you need to forget about your mom and get to work, son. Get digging.
Forget all about her.
I mean, I wrote a note like, this man definitely killed his wife and he wants his son to stop bringing it up all the time.
Shut up.
You're all uptight about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Bastian, because his mom died, this makes him a target for bullies.
I can't handle it.
First, your mom's dead, you're a loser. What?
That's such an 80s trope. There's definitely another couple of examples of like, oh, that's the dead kid. I mean, no wait.
There's that dead kid.
Oh, I'm dead.
No
Everybody
life.
About to be dead.
Get a life. Right, totally. Grow up. I can't. Because he died. Just to go from mean dad to 3 mean boys, we needed 3.
Yeah.
And then mean librarian man, who's kind of nice.
I love that they throw him in a dumpster. He gets out, and they're waiting for him. Like, who said you could get out of the dumpster?
That is thorough. Those are
these kids. They love being evil. Well, I love these bullies.
They're all very unattractive children too. So what else were they going to get cast out?
I guess so.
I'm just saying.
So where does he go, Lacey?
I just smell the farts in this bookstore. Like, I know that he's not farting, but like, I fucking smell them. So he goes to the crankiest, most unorganized bookstore of all to go hide. And there's no way that those are alphabetical. Did you see the way they're stacked on the shelves?
No.
Vertically.
It's a mess.
Doesn't make sense. Okay. And with their spines facing in. The prop people.
He also literally says, what are you doing? I don't like kids.
I can smell a kid. You have young farts.
He might have money. You don't know.
No. He just got bullied with the money and the shaking. The only kids that ever come in here are the ones that get bullied, and then he gives them the NeverEnding Story book, and then they fill up his shelves with books. You see, this man is making a creative factory.
Mm-hmm.
You look like a traumatized boy. Here's a magical book.
Yeah, so he intends to give the book away. Like, when do we think? Does he sees Bastian and right away he's like, here's a target?
Well, he's magical. He's got to be. He's like a grumpy fairy god pooper, right? Like, that's his vibe.
I don't know.
I don't understand his deal either. I mean, he's just been sitting in that chair waiting. reading this book for some reason.
He is reading the book, and Bastian's like, "What are you reading?" And he's like, "You wouldn't like, this is my forbidden book of mystery. You don't want to read it." And he's like, "But I bet I do. It sounds good." He's like, "No, it sucks now.
Master of psychology.
Don't you pick it up while I step away for a minute."
Biggest book ever, too. Barely fits in his tiny baby jacket.
This guy doesn't like kids. They're always on their phones. You can't get their attention. So
he doesn't even know. Yeah. He'd hate it now. He plays hooky inside school. Nice header, Matt. Okay, this is okay. My kid just recently missed a day of school, and then today, right now, they're missing another day of school. And the stress my kid feels from missing work is all I can think about while
Bastian's
I watch.
Dad would approve.
This. He's already got a call from the math teacher. Not impressed. Needs to get his shit together, but he goes to school. I guess it's the safest place for him to be. I'll bet his house is empty. Why not go there, Bastian? And he goes. He takes the book and he there's no way he's doing a math test. So he remembers there's a haunted attic in this school and goes there to have a delicious sandwich, I'd like to point out. And then he begins reading the book he stole, which is the NeverEnding Story book. And he's a fast reader.
It is a big book that he makes his way through. It is funny if you're like an author and you're going to write a book within a book. I feel like sort of The Princess Bride does this too, is you have a movie or you have a story, and within the story, somebody's reading a different story that has to be the most like interesting and captivating thing. But now you, the author, are charged with writing that
the most
thing.
Interesting.
So you better make sure it's it's actually the most interesting thing.
Which is probably why it's so jarring when Bastian has these big reactions outside of the book. I'm like, Bastian, calm down. I just watched what you're reading and I'm fine. It is a turtle. It's a turtle. It doesn't deserve this. Oh! That was my impression. All right. Oh, okay. We meet some folks. Don't you kind of feel like they don't do enough with these interesting little guys? I guess it's just to get us to know. We meet this troll-like man. We meet a small leprechaunish type person, a snail, and then the rock guy who always upsets me because he drops so much rocks, and literally any rock that fell out of his mouth could have killed any one of those people. I don't feel like he's a nice guy. I'm just saying. So we're just, oh wow, this world is weird, strange. But they're sad and their lands are being taken away, and they're gonna go find white people.
They're going to the Empress. She'll help us. This is
in her ivory tower.
Yeah, it's kind of like a greatest hits of fantasy world. I mean, I'd say the main thing is Wizard of Oz, but you have some Lord of the Rings in there.
Oh, all I see is Alice in Wonderland.
And Alice in Wonderland, yeah. And this is Deep Roy playing the I guess the Mad Hatter is who he's playing, but he rides his snail.
Is that like a porn name?
That's just his name.
He's been in a couple things, man. Don't sleep on Deep Roy.
No,
I enjoy him.
You were sleeping on Deep Roy, dude.
If I were sleeping on Deep Roy, I'd know it. Thank you.
He's the Oompa Loompas in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That's his face.
That.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, Tim Burton insisted Deep Roy get paid $1 million for that movie.
Oh.
Yeah, good for him. He's like he's playing like 35 characters, so he should.
Oh, he's every Oompa Loompa. Yeah. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew in advance that would be one of the most iconic things.
Yeah, he was giving, that's for sure.
That's awesome.
So we go to the ivory tower. We have this is like the Mos Eisley Cantina from Lacey's favorite movie, Star Wars, just in how many creatures are just kind of ambling around in the background. You have like giant head people.
I love those. Those are my favorite. I drew a little picture of one of them. Yeah. I drew a little picture of the big head tree.
Let's see it.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Okay. Anyway, did you find it interesting, like some random Native American appreciation in the 80s? Because I feel like anytime Native Americans were brought up in 80s movies, it was because something was built on top of a burial ground. Like I feel like Native Americans were celebrated in this movie in a way that I just don't remember seeing.
I mean, maybe it's because it's from a German guy.
Oh, okay.
But so he has Bastian. They introduce Atreyu by saying he's a member of the people who hunt the purple buffalo, and then we have a cutaway to Bastian reading this, and then he looks like in his backpack, and he has a drawing of a native hunting a buffalo. So that I think that's our first hint that Bastian is seeing stuff in the book that comes like inputs from his world are showing up in the book.
Yeah, in my memory, Bastian joins this reality fully and way earlier, but that's not at all what happens. He doesn't interact with any of the characters until he's with the child bride.
Yeah, he's by himself until like the last 5 minutes. So they found this great warrior Atreyu. He's gonna come help us, but when they meet Atreyu, he's just some dumb kid.
But he sent for him. How could it be a kid if I've sent for you?
We thought Atreyu was a brave, noble warrior, not some shit-eating kid. And he's like, well, I don't have to help you. I'll go hunt the buffalo. And they're like, no, you'll do. I
like kid empowerment. I give it points here. And that hair is Pantene perfect. He has the shiniest brown hair. I want to smell it.
I would have bet anything before I saw this movie. I was certain that the Atreyu has to also be played by the actor who plays Bastian. It has to be the same.
Also my memory, and it was wrong.
Yeah, which I'm glad that it's two different people. I like that part of it.
Drew, did you remember it was two different guys?
I actually couldn't remember. I thought maybe it was the same guy because I couldn't remember how like the fantasy and the real world got intertwined and combined. So I honestly was kind of up in the air going back into it.
And it's interesting how they introduce that Bastian from the outside world can be heard in this world really kind of early in the story. And then there just seems to be like a huge gap of him not interacting at all in the reality of the book. Because it's the when he gets scared by the turtle, the world's scariest creature, the turtle.
Yeah, that's it.
Big turtle.
It's a big fucking turtle.
No, but there's stuff like Atreyu eats when Bastian eats, and characters go to sleep when Bastian goes to sleep.
But that's because the book is reminding him to do those things.
But I think it's him. He does these things, and they precede the characters doing these things.
Incorrect. The horse is fed an apple, which is what makes him think to have lunch and eat that delicious sandwich that has purple inside. I'm guessing jelly. A jelly.
Later has an apple though.
True,
he does fine.
Randomly. That is the crispest apple.
Oh, it looks nice.
Nice, like a good Granny Smith.
Yeah.
So they tell Atreyu, you can go find the cure. Leave all your weapons behind. You have to go by yourself.
I wrote down a list.
A list of what?
Fucking list. This poor goddamn kid. Hold on. The man with the pointy hair. I'm not talking about you, Drew. I'm talking about the man. He has no idea what the fuck's going on, but he says that this is the only advice anyone can give you. How does he know that? And then he proceeds to tell the kid that you must go alone. You must leave all your weapons here, and don't fuck up because of everything that you will ruin if you do. That is horrible advice, and he's the only one that can give it. He made that up on the fly. I know.
Yeah, he's not.
Don't shit a shitter, okay? I make up things all the time.
He's not setting him up for success.
That's the worst pep talk I've ever heard in my life. But maybe it's just a metaphor for how that the kid who's reading the book feels, how he's not prepared for the world. His mom has been taken away, and it's just, you know what? Give me everything that comforts you.
Figure it out.
Give me all your shit. Fuck you. Now, don't ruin your life.
That is exactly.
You're ruining our home life. You're being a real bummer. I'm not going to give you any tools to. I hate when I talk myself into liking something I don't originally.
See, this is good.
Damn it. All right.
This is good. Lacey, when I watch movies with Lacey that she's not into, she's like very, just a lot of groaning and then a lot of slapping things, a lot of slamming her hand on the sofa. He
wears noise canceling headphones while we're watching the movie, so he can't hear, he can only hear the movie. And he also has a condition, which means he can't turn his neck. So this is very inconvenient for me, who needs lots of attention when I'm annoyed. So I just kind of do a lot of throat, like I'm getting into his peripheral. I'm upset until he takes his little thing out and listens to me. I like when you take your little thing out.
I know you do.
Oh, wait. The one time I didn't mean a double entendre. It was a good one. All right. Go on with your bullshit.
I will. So they give Atreyu the Oren, this great amulet thing he has to wear around his neck. Yes. And it will guide him in his journey.
It serves no fucking purpose.
I don't remember what it does, if it does anything.
It looks hella fly.
It does look good.
It looks hella fly. It's it's a snake eating itself, which is this book.
It never ends, man. Okay. you who knows all things.
Oh no.
I am obsessed with this set piece. Is this a set? I mean, obviously it's not a swamp. They didn't go to Florida for this.
No, this is inside of Bavaria Studios in Munich.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Doesn't it look so good?
It looks
so
amazing.
And I kept writing down like, oh, I bet this was so fun. I bet this is no. And then I think about it a little longer, and I'm like, this must be where the kid torture comes in. Is this where they torture the actor who plays this boy?
You're focusing too much on that. I don't. They just put this kid through the ringer. They made him. He has to do all this shit. They're throwing him around, swim through all the mud, climb the trees. He had to learn to ride a horse forever. You know, get blown around in the air, get on this big puppet. Yeah, he has to do a lot of stuff. And again, most of the movie, he's not talking to another human being.
I was just going to say, I never quite thought about the loneliness, but I guess it helps him kind of hone in his character. He is an adventurer, a warrior all by himself. And
well, just in terms of difficulty, okay, Noah Hathaway is the actor. All right, Noah, now scream like you're very scared. And he's like, but he's not reacting to any other actor, so he doesn't know what level of like energy to give.
He only has this level.
Yeah, so of course that's what it's going to sound like. Well, okay, so the most famous scene in the movie is the death of Artax the horse, and this was, filmed on a soundstage. They have hydraulic lifts that lower and raise the horse, and they said they had to train horses for months because you just have to. A horse when it gets lowered into water is like, hey, I'm just gonna get out of the water, and so they have to teach the horses, no, stay in the water, and so they had to keep doing that forever. They do this with lots of horses, but I mean, you can't deny this is magic. By using this real animal, and I guess it's good that they wouldn't do this to a real horse today. They'd just have a CGI horse, but you lose some of that magic.
Oh, like the desperate face that horse is making in its last moments when Atreyu is pulling the shit out of his face, and all you see is like,
that's what's so great about it.
I'm trying to get out of this hole. I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah.
He didn't fight the sadness hard enough.
He's a stupid horse.
Because he's walking through the swamps of sadness and he's giving into depression. Now in the book, Artax talks. Oh. So guys, I just want to read a passage from the book.
Oh, good.
Okay. Fucking cry.
Go on, man.
So Artax says, with every step we take, the sadness grows in my heart. I've lost hope, master, and I feel so heavy. I can't go on. But we must go on, cried Atreyu. Come along, Artax. He tugged at the bridle, but Artax stood still. He had sunk up to his belly and made no further effort to extricate himself. Artax, you mustn't let yourself go. Come on, pull yourself up or you'll sink. Leave me, master, said the little horse. I can't make it. Go on alone. Don't bother about me. I can't stand the sadness anymore. I want to die.
Jesus.
And then he dies.
Germans, am I right?
I know.
God.
Holy shit.
Okay, is anyone else though a little bit confused with the message? I know it's like the most literal metaphor ever, and it's literally don't let the sadness, but aren't you allowed to be sad if your mom dies? I don't understand what they're saying about Bastian here.
I can't let it overcome you though. Like you can be sad about your mom for sure, and you'll have bad days, you'll have good days, but if you let that sadness overcome your entire being, then you're no longer who you're supposed to be, and you no longer have a life anymore.
There's healthy ways to deal with it. You don't need to to go through the swamps of sadness. You go to the swamp of a therapist.
Maybe I feel like they jumped into the fantasy story a little too quickly then, because maybe I need to spend more time with Bastian to see, like, is he letting this sadness ruin his life, or is he just trying to have breakfast and his dad's a dick? Like,
I know you have to just project these things,
right?
I do think that
I guess the teacher, right? He's not doing well in school, but it's like people who lose their parents do have a dip in school. That's what therapy's for. That's what talking it out with your other parent could help do. Okay, not just come on.
But as far
his
as
dad sucks, we all know that. So he ain't taking Bastian to therapy.
But Drew, as far as like the death of the horse, this stuck with you when you were a kid. You remembered it as an adult. How did you experience it as an adult?
As an adult, I wasn't expecting it to be so soon. I kind of felt the same. I was like, I need more connection, at least more connection with Atreyu and Artax to like get that connection of loss, at least for Atreyu's standpoint. But at the same time, I still did feel I didn't cry. I thought I was gonna cry. I didn't cry quite, but I still did get really close to it. And I feel like the the real horse really does sell it, because you see the fear in the horse's eyes.
Face.
And then Atreyu's actor can like feed off of the horse, and he himself is getting sad, producing real tears for us. And yes, he is screaming at 1,000,000%, but like, yeah, he really does. I mean, dude, if a horse is drowning in front of you, you can't do anything about it. I mean, that'd be so upsetting. So I still felt this scene hit, but I didn't think it hit as much as it could if this would have happened a little later on, like maybe after the turtle, maybe they get to the turtle and then it happens or something.
Right, like have that horse get him through some stuff emotionally in a few scenes. Show me the camaraderie a little more, rather than that very romantic wake him up in a meadow, give him an apple.
No, I
nuzzle his nipple.
You need to invest a little more in the relationship, but they do sell it. And they said everybody on set was crying. The actress who played the childlike empress, this was her first day on set. And they're like, "You want to go watch a scene being filmed, little girl?" And she's like, "Sure." She watches this. Oh my God.
Don't worry, we're saving the swamp set for your scene.
Do a good job in the movie.
Oh God.
Okay. We meet Morla, the ancient one, the giant turtle.
I do not recall why this is the place that Atreyu has to go to get his next clue. It's basically just a big scavenger hunt. So look for the cranky hill. So he goes and does that. And it turns out it's a turtle. And I gotta say, I feel for the ancient one. What a boring life. She hasn't talked to anyone in 1,000 years, and the first person she does is screaming at her the whole time, telling her stuff she already knows, and she's allergic. Why would she care? Why would she care if the whole world is dying? She serves the purpose of a hill in a sadness swamp. What kind of life is this? I can't see someone like this being super motivated to, we must rescue all that I have here in this wonderful kingdom of sleeping for 1,000 years. Anyway, and she's not impressed with Atreyu, doesn't seem to want to help, and but does give him his next clue. This movie is an escape room. And he unlocks the clue. So he needs to go to the Southern Oracle, 10,000 miles away. But he's so dirty.
But she's like letting the nothing overtake her too, which, makes sense because she's a hill.
And lives in a sadness swamp.
Yes.
Right.
So, yeah, the nuclear war is coming. There's nothing I can do to stop it.
So she stands for complacency. So the way you look when the nothing is overtaken you, but you're so overlooked that you haven't even been consumed by it. You've just become part of the scenery. Damn, that's deep. I talked myself into another scene. Shit.
I can't even care that I don't care, she says.
I love all of her lines.
She also looks incredible. This is such a good.
This is though when I realized his infatuation for moving noses on creatures. Once you see that the noses never stop moving, you can't unsee it. This and in the flying dog dragon, just a constant.
It's true. I did notice with all the puppets, all the puppeteering was done in German, so the dubbing doesn't match at all.
Okay, because the tongue moving, then I can forgive it. That makes sense.
But the actors most of the actors are speaking in English. I don't know what the practice was in Germany at the time. Like Das Boot, no actual audio was filmed on set.
Oh wow!
With this, I don't know how much of the audio was recorded on set. A lot of it is dubbed by the actors later. But like Atreyu especially sounds like very disembodied.
Okay, it just always seemed very echoey, very alone. And so having all this in an actual set on a soundstage kind of works for this movie because it is supposed to be a vacuum. It's supposed to be confound to this book and this vacant world full of nothing.
Yeah.
So the echoing always seemed intentional. Don't you feel like he echoed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in Bastian's attic where there's a fucking werewolf.
There's a werewolf head on a stick. When would that be needed in middle school? I can see in high school. But middle school?
Again, it's Germany.
Oh, Germany. Okay. Yes, Bastian is overreacting to the book. I'm going to talk myself into this again. God damn it. He is in a dank, scary attic. It's not like the school is a very comforting place. There seems to be no comforting adults in his life at all. And his teacher is clearly a backstabbing little snitch, as we learned from the first scene. So he's hiding in and wants to go into his imagination with this big giant book that he stole. And the only way he can do it is in the scariest place he could think of. But he's being brave. He's staying in there. He even leaves and then comes back and he's like, no. What would Atreyu do?
Mm-hmm.
So this book, because he's so compelled to read it, is giving him the strength to put his pussy down and pick his big boy. No, don't say big boy dick. Oh. And pick his dick up. I've got little boy nipples behind me and I just said big boy dick.
What kind of podcast is this? What are we doing here? Come on.
It's a German one. This is in Germany. This is how you talk.
Honestly, not very different from what we normally do.
Okay. In my memory, when we get to meet Falkor, the dog dragon, that is like that's when this all turns around. That's like in Dumb and Dumber when they find the money and then all of a sudden the movie's a romp. And that doesn't happen. I mean, even the nice people this boy gets to meet. Now, number one, the luck dragon clearly likes this boy as more than a friend. That upsets me. Number two, he insinuates that he's got other friends, and then he goes and looks in the little, Atreyu goes and looks in the little cottage, and there's like a super funny little old goblin couple talking their shit to each other, which reminds me of me and you. I love it. But they're not super into him either. I mean, I guess they're just. I thought it would turn into It's a Small World, and like all of a sudden
everyone loves Atreyu.
Yeah,
but it doesn't.
He's
so
been through so much. No, but I did enjoy the banter of the I don't know what those guys are, but the husband and wife team. There's something very soothing about Falkor's voice, but also it would have had a German actor to begin with. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, just doing the voice.
Okay, but that's a big deal. Like, and maybe it's the same way how some dubbed anime movies just don't feel like the voice actor they chose for America is like really hitting the vibes that the actual character is putting off. So I guess he just seems a little too playful for me, or like too happy.
Very happy.
He's happy
nothing.
He's happy go lucky, and then as soon as there's a little bit of rain, he's like, "Fuck! Atreyu! Did you go on the beach? I'm in the ocean for some reason." So I'm just saying it's fake. He's not this chill. So I see you, Falkor. But he seems very helpful. He flew most of the way. And I do feel this might be the origin of my tryptophobia. Because when I get it. This is a beautiful puppet. But when I saw the beaded scales close up, I gagged multiple times.
Yeah,
Drew,
she did.
do you have tryptophobia, Drew?
What is that?
Okay.
Not everyone in the world knows this made up word.
It's not made up. It's made up, but lots of people have it. It is a grotesque reaction or disgust for organic things that have bubbles or holes super close together. It specifically has to do with live objects. So like beehives, coral reef.
Okay.
It's thought to have like evolved in some people because it would have. In nature, if you see little tiny holes developing on your body, it means you've got the plague or you've got some sort of pox. Or that's the theory, is that certain people are repulsed by it because usually it means disease. And I'm saying Falkor's back is full of disease.
Well, they figured out on the internet that like some people just react to this and some people don't. Right. And before Lacey knew about this, I just pulled up a picture of of something on my phone, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And she swatted my phone away. So it's like, I guess you have it because I don't feel anything when I look at this.
And it was a seed pod.
Yeah. And so Falkor's scales gave you that reaction.
I mean, I had to stop looking. I could only look him right in the face.
Most of what you see is just his cute face.
He is a sweet little man. Okay.
He's got a big old face.
It's one of the most impressive puppets in movie
he history. Looks so soft. The eyes. That's
his eye. Yeah, his eyes. His eyes are so
soulful.
Nice and greeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's alive.
And they didn't do the thing where they make it to look like too much like a human child with big white eyes in addition to the color part. but it's super darked out the way an actual animal's. You see more of the iris on an animal, and they kept that here.
Yeah.
But it's got laugh lines. That's what makes it so warm and inviting. You can tell that dragon laughs.
And just broken record, but this is a physical object in the camera. It casts a shadow. You feel like you can go touch it because you could. I mean, why do people love Baby Yoda? Because he's an actual puppet. He's not CGI. Let's see. Credit some people. Ulderico was the chief creature designer. Giuseppe Tortora was the animatronics engineer. Good job, guys.
I think this whole thing was Jim Henson.
Nice.
No Jim Henson.
I just assumed.
That was the Dark Crystal.
Oh, okay. Oh, competing battle puppets.
Yeah.
I'd play that game.
Lacey mentioned the elf people who apparently remind her of me and her. She likes injecting people with weird potions, and he likes looking in his telescope, just like us.
You like doing your science.
Yeah, I do. I do my little experiments by myself. But they're helping Atreyu. You have to get to the Southern Oracle, and that means you have to go past these Sphinx statues that if they see you will shoot you with their laser beams. But
I mean, this movie is set up like a board game, right? It's like Candyland. It's just each stop gives, don't have much of a relationship with you or even much of a conversation, but you will point me to the next thing that I have to do. It's a scavenger hunt.
It's very questy. And even like the narrator will be like, well, they went on lots of adventures, but after all that, they arrived here.
Right.
So you are just seeing like the major stops along the way. But Atreyu makes it past the Sphinx, the famous large-breasted sphinxes, and he gets to this mirror. He's like in an Arctic tundra.
I feel like you really passed by one of the most kind of what I feel like it was a suspenseful scene when I was a child. Is like, will he or won't he have enough confidence in himself to get past the Sphinx's eyes? I mean, I can't think of a more intimidating criteria to be able to pass a test is how do you feel about you? Because I think anyone, no matter how damaged, most people think they feel pretty okay about themselves until they start thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, nothing's going to make me think I don't love myself more than when the goddamn eyes open.
Yes.
And they open!
The elf man is yelling at him, and Bastian.
I'm acting like Atreyu with my screaming. I'm sorry. I went from 6 to 45. I'm sorry.
Like, be confident, loser. You can do it. And
don't be sad. Be confident. If you're not, fake it. Nipples. It's just a weird message. You don't get to have your boy nipples, but she's got her lady nipples, and those are definitely implants.
Yeah, maybe if he showed some nipple, the eyes wouldn't have opened.
The nipple is the third eye, is what I'm trying. It's like, I'm wide awake, statue. Nothing to see here.
But he does it. He finds his inner confidence. I never thought Atreyu lacked confidence. He seemed pretty confident. And he gets past it. And then there's I think this is a really good scene. Very, very creepy with the music and everything of him looking.
And you notice the mirror is an eyeball? Is that obvious to everybody else? That's an eye with eyelashes that are wilted. Does that not look like an eye? The mirror?
Yeah, a little bit. I can see the eyelashes for sure.
Yeah. Like Snuffleupagus.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Snuffleupagus, where they like hang.
Yeah.
Droopy doopy movie kind of eyes.
And then, he sees in the mirror, he can see Bastian. They can see each other. We are each other. This reminded me of Last Jedi when Rey goes into the cave and sees the infinite mirrors.
Which I like.
I like it too.
Okay. Actually, Drew, you do this slide. I'm sick of it. Take it away.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're at the Southern Oracle, and we get to see some more big titty statues, which everyone is all aboard on that. And then we see, the Empress needs a new name, right? I found that interesting that all that's needed to fix everything is a new name. We just need to give her a new name.
Or like they just didn't have, did it feel like a cop-out? Like they just didn't have any ideas?
I don't know.
The reader have to give some of yourself over to this.
But that's why I like, because as soon as they said that, they cut away to Bastian, and Bastian was like, oh man, my mom had a beautiful name. So you see that connection with it like right away,
Yeah.
I immediately yelled, Karen, but that's not her name, right?
No, the name he yells is Moonchild. which presumably was not his mother's name.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. That's from the book, but in the book it's explained.
Okay. This is why Dad hated hippie mom. She's a hippie dippy loser,
Moonchild,
and she's dead.
yeah.
We're all happy she's dead.
Moonchild.
No,
yeah.
he's in Reagan's America. She was stuck in the 60s.
Like,
Come on.
I killed her so that you could get a job, son. Stop thinking about it. All right, sorry, Drew. I won't interrupt.
But the only person that can give her this name is a human child. And then they also talk about the boundaries of Fantasia and how they need to go past the boundaries of Fantasia and to get to this human child. And then the statues start crumbling because Fantasia is crumbling because people don't want to read books. They don't want to dream. He says no one dreams anymore and everyone's too busy looking at their phones, being distracted, getting lost in other shit, but they can't internalize, and imagine anything anymore. So everything starts to crumble because our boy Bastian needs to save Fantasia.
Right.
I think I like the way you put that because it does sound trite to be like, you got to read more books. But if it's like, if we do think about our modern world, and I'm always distracted. I'm always listening to something in my headphones. I've never let myself sit alone and quiet. And I don't spend much time just sort of listening to my inner voice or whatever, or really processing anything. I'm a broken person is what I'm saying. So I need to
aren't we all?
Pay closer
We're all
attention.
broken,
Yes. And then so he's like, well, let's go find.
Someone just had a drone camera, right? That's why this exists. Like, look what we can do.
No, this was, they had just invented blue screen, really. That's why this whole section looks like an Epcot ride. Because it is just the puppet head in front of a blue screen and they're just playing, landscapes and blowing like a fan on him. And he's like, whoa, there's mountains and volcanoes.
But given everything else, I'll bet this was a fun day of filming.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They didn't have to like blast him with actual snow or fire.
Was that actual snow? That was an actual snow.
No, and actual fire and molten ash and stuff.
Context clues.
Yeah, they're just kind of flying over all of Fantasia, and the Falkor's like, oh, Atreyu.
You should have dropped presents with that ho-hoing.
Yes. And finally they find Gamork, the evil wolf monster who's been
scary.
A lurking, looming threat this whole movie.
He seems kind of chill with Atreyu, though, at first.
I like it. I like the confrontation. Because he's like, you...
Gamork and Gamindi.
You don't even know what you're looking for, you piece of shit. Fantasia has no boundaries. It's all bullshit,
A big-tittied oracle gave him wrong information, I'd like to point out. When a statue is 40 feet tall, you listen.
I mean, presentation is important. Oh, I forgot to mention that Atreyu, he falls off of Falkor because the nothing is coming, and they visualize the nothing by just like having weird clouds and stuff.
I love the clouds in the opening scene. I did want to say in the credits, they're just beautiful cloud formations. I guess it's just someone had some footage.
It's the something. It knocks Atreyu off of Falkor. They get separated, and Atreyu sees the rock eater giant, who he himself has become depressed, and he's like, it's just as well. I'll just die. It's fine.
His big, strong John Goodman hands.
I was going to say, I loved that line of how he was like, I have such big, strong hands, and even I couldn't hold on to my dearest friends. Even they succumbed to the nothing. And I was like, damn, bro, what are we doing?
Well, and the self-doubt, right? Because he's like, they look strong, don't they? Like his thing that he believed so much about himself, his one thing that he's made of rock and that rock are strong, he had to ask a small child if it's true still. Don't they?
I'm going to cry. That's so sad.
This is going to be like the time you really thought about what the song Let It Go meant and you listened to it in the car over and over again. You cry. Is this going to happen?
Don't air my laundry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But Atreyu walks through this, ruined palace, which has murals on the wall that show the journey he's been on. It's like the universe is folding in on itself. And he meets Gamork, meets the wolf, and they talk to each other, and the wolf's like, the Fantasia has no boundaries. You're not going to find somebody from outside of the world. This world is all there is. To believe in nothing, man. Gamork looks really good. I think of all the puppets, he's probably the stiffest in terms of movement. But Atreyu kills the wolf, and finally makes his way to Falkor finds him, and they're flying through the sky, and Fantasia's been reduced. It's just meteors flying through space. But the ivory tower is still intact. It's on a moon rock, and Atreyu lands there, and we finally meet the childlike empress.
There's some kind of uncanny valley thing with her, though. Like I feel like I'm looking at an adult, but it's a child. There's something too beautiful, too perfect. I've always felt this way about this actress. It's just she's otherworldly. I get that's the point.
That is, yes, that's why it's good.
But now in our day now, we have toddlers and tiaras and dance moms. So there's also something overly dressed up about her, like what's her name, Benet?
John
Benet. There's something like sad about the overdoneness. Anyway.
Tammy Stronach is the name of the actress, and she was a ballerina, and then and she's the only of the children who's interviewed for this Blu-ray feature, and she's like speaking to you from her dance studio that she runs for little children ballerinas.
She seems very stage mom,
but it's good.
It is good.
The way she looks, the way that she talks is very otherworldly, and she's like, Atreyu, you've actually done everything you needed to do. You brought the human with you. He's been with you all along. And in fact, there are people watching him right now, just worlds upon worlds. They're talking about us. And this is kind of like Lord of the Rings in Frodo, spoiler alert for Lord of the Rings. Frodo goes to the top of Mount Doom to throw the ring in and then decides not to. The ring overtakes him. But then Gollum comes and attacks him, and the ring ends up destroyed anyway. Even though Frodo succumbed to the evil at the end, he did enough. He got himself close enough, and the point was, you got yourself there. You did it, even if at the end you faltered.
Perfection,
yeah,
right? It's not.
You
perfection.
did everything you needed to do.
Also, maybe a metaphor for creative people who maybe. Who doubt their creativity or doubt that it's enough, doubt that it's something anyone would care about. Is this important? Do we need another this or that in the world? And I think it's saying you are enough. This is the thing that you've produced is going to add to the world's beauty. Yes. Don't make me talk myself into stuff.
You might think this is a silly adventure movie for kids, a silly fantasy story, but that's what we need.
We need a little
Everybody.
silly right now. But you should also go to your math class. Get out of the attic. You're now trespassing. School hours are over.
Bastian has always been, or he's part of the NeverEnding Story. And all he has to do is say her name. So he's like, all right, I will, Moonchild.
It takes him forever to say the name.
Say the name, Bastian.
God, just say it.
But he gets sucked in. Now Fantasia is destroyed save for one tiny grain of sand. But it's okay. He can rebuild everything with his imagination.
One grain of sand and an entire empress. Just saying.
She's still there. It's true.
Okay.
And then the second half of the book is all about him rebuilding Fantasia, but eventually just like settling petty grievances by recreating things, being like, well, I'm the best. I'm the champion. And then like Atreyu's like, you kind of suck now. And he's like, I'll kill you, Atreyu. And he does. And then finally has to bring him back. But yeah, so he rebuilds everything. He can rebuild all of Fantasia, and then he decides I'm going to recreate my bullies and attack them with my dragon. And then the narrator's like, Atreyu or Bastian had some adventures, but we'll tell you about them next time. That's it. That's the end
really
of the
does
movie.
End kind of abruptly. Like, nothing more to see here. He kind of went off the fucking rails.
Yeah. That makes sense that there's a whole second part to this story now, because that's what I always thought this ending was so loose cannon. I was like, oh, it's going good, and then it's like, oh, and then this and they all went off, and then I'll see you later.
Right.
Oh shit. Okay.
See you later.
Dope.
Nothing more to see.
He's still
here.
in the attic though? Does he ever get out again? Is he alive?
Right. And there's no moment where he reconnects with his dad at all. Like the dad never comes back, and he's just like.
Yeah, so the book also has the wrinkle that like every wish he makes in Fantasia makes him forget a part of his human self.
Oh.
So eventually he has no connection at all to his humanity. Oh. And then the book concludes with him being like having some of his memories restored and allowing him to go back, and he goes back and reconnects with his dad. And then he goes to the bookstore and he's like, Mr. Book Guy, you gave me a book and made me go into Book World. And he's like, what book? I've never heard a book. But then he's like, actually, I have been to Fantasia. Now you will bring other people to Fantasia.
And you will be the page master.
It is kind of like the page master.
I've never seen it.
And then he just dusts off in the end.
Oh, he
Yes.
Right.
He passes the book. He's like, I'm no longer a part of this.
It's your
Off to
farts
Fantasia.
now.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
enjoy the mortgage.
Thank you, Bastian.
He was a big ornery genie stuck in the lamp of a bookstore. If only someone would wish me free.
Well, okay, we're going to summarize our final thoughts and do our star ratings out of 5. Drew, do you want to go first? What'd you think?
Yes, I really did enjoy it. I've been leaning on 3.5 and 4 for like the last like 2 or 3 days, but I think I'm gonna go 3.5. I think the puppets are amazing. I really like the camera work in this too because they mess with like sizes so well, especially with the boulder man. They make him seem so big and everyone's so small. Even when he's eating that rock and all the boulders are falling down, not only do they show the small people there, they show the giant, they show the boulders falling. How the fuck do you do that? Like, that's just crazy. It's really in depth. I thought it probably would have been pretty hard to make this movie in 1984. I feel like it would probably been a long process. So I appreciate all the work that went into it, but I think the ending kind of loses its weight for me because I want the ending to be a little more put together, a little more meaningful. And it's like I get what they were going for, and it still has a lot of meaning to me no matter what. Because even like in the middle and everything, like it teaches you a lot of valuable lessons about dealing with grief and keep moving forward, all while remembering who they are and not completely letting go, but still not overcoming the depression that comes with losing someone. So overall, thought it was really great. I thought the music was awesome, very 80s, and I think 3.5 out of 5 is very solid for this movie, which is I was very like happy with that. I was scared I was going to watch it and be like, this is a 2-story movie, a two-star movie, So I was happy with it.
Which that happens to us all the time
Constantly.
on our show.
It
but
is the
which
point.
I love realizing something. I like both ways it happens. Like, oh, no, that movie holds up. I like it. Or I was an idiot when I was a kid. What was I thinking? Yeah. So
it happens.
Lacey, will you give us a star rating, please?
Okay. I get it. But do I want it? Now, I do feel like important characters are created and then nothing happens with them. I do wonder, like, well, whatever happened to Atreyu except for he gets his horse back and he rides around, and it's just, I don't know. The ending falls flat, but it is the thing that I'm looking the most forward to the whole time because it is so dark and despairing, and
it is the triumphant release you need at the end.
I needed the release. I did. Okay. I wasn't energized the whole time while watching it. I was ready for it to be over. So I think it just kind of maybe lagged in the middle indish for me. That's all. But since it's not totally my cup of tea, I'm going to say 2, and I'm sorry. That's the lowest rating I've given something in a long time.
Wow.
And that's just because I don't want to see it again. I get it. I understand why it was important. I understand why I watched it. I understand why people love it. But I don't think I was a emotionally stable enough kid to have really like sunk into this one without it making me more depressed than I already was as a kid. I was Bastian.
I know. I was Bastian too. In the book, they specifically say Bastian is fat, which is not the case in the movie, but it's a big deal in the book, is that he's fat and unathletic. So, him getting to be this great hero.
Go together.
Yeah. I agree very much with Drew. I go 3.5 stars.
Oh.
I did wonder if I was like too into the puppets and maybe that was making me look past whether this is a good story, whether it does it function just on its own. Am I just too despondent about CGI in movies today and holding this one up?
As I like to call it, your Jaws blinders.
My Jaws blinders.
Because when you put a fucking shark in something, all of a sudden you like stuff, or dinosaurs, more than it deserves to be liked. I'm just saying. You've got shark
Jaws
dinosaur
doesn't deserve to be liked?
No, it does. It does. I'm just saying not everything with a shark deserves to be liked.
I mean, that's not true. Everything with a shark is great.
Okay, fine.
I did think the most recent, so last night we were watching it. This is now the 3rd time I've watched it this year. And when Bastian, finally says the shouts out Moonchild, and we know that for some reason there's a connection between Moonchild and his mom, and it is like him finally acknowledging his mom, this presence in his life that his dad has been totally telling him to ignore, and he just acknowledges it, and that's it. That's the key to everything. I got kind of emotional watching it last night when that happens, in a way I hadn't the previous 2 times. So it worked better than any of the previous times I'd seen the movie. 3.5 stars, very good, very well directed. I think that the kids, Atreyu and the Empress are very good. Bastian, he's also good. He's by himself, and it is hard to like. They have to keep checking in with him, and this isn't just a frame story. It's about how he interacts with the story itself. But it is kind of hard. Like, how do you dramatize that? How do you show it on screen? All they can really do is make him go like, "Whoa!"
Right. There's not.
Come
a lot
on,
for him to
Atreyu.
do. Yeah.
So that's tough. If I don't know what child actor could pull that off of just being in a room by yourself and just exclaim things.
I was pleasantly surprised with how not precocious in an annoying way he had, like just big-eyed brunette. Gee golly, there's something realistic and anyway, I found him more engaging than I thought I'd remembered him being. I mixed him and Atreyu together, but I liked Atreyu too. I don't know.
I like Atreyu.
I like Atreyu.
Anybody like the band Atreyu?
I think I've heard of them.
They're like they're like kind of metal, kind of hardcore, like 2000 screamo, a little more like radio friendly, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've heard of them. Yeah,
they
I
only
like them.
Sing covers of NeverEnding Story song.
I don't know about that. I'll have to check on that. Newfound Glory has a cover of the NeverEnding Story.
That's hilarious. I will say the one thing that I didn't mention, is like I liked this because it made me feel that connection that I've had with a book. I was a huge reader as a kid. I loved books. I used to be grounded a lot as a kid, so I read. My mom would let me read. She'd let me have books. I remember reading the Harry Potter series, and it was the 6th book. It just came out, and she was like, "Drew, come down for dinner," and I was almost done with the book, and I was like, "Hold on, I gotta finish this book. This is insane.
Right.
So much shit's going on right now. Like, I'll come eat later." My mom was like, "Did you just tell me to wait on dinner so you could finish a book?" Like, so I don't know. I just really like that because there is that one book for everyone that they just totally fall in love with the characters, the story. They can dive in and they can imagine and just get whisked off to a new world. You know.
I was going to ask you if either of you have had a book like that, and mine would have been mine was Harry Potter, the 4th Harry Potter.
I don't want to tell you.
Which just got me at that. Yours was Twilight.
Shut up.
That's fair though. Twilight was a huge thing, man, and my mom was huge into Twilight. I went to all the opening movies with her because no one else would go with her.
What a
so
good son.
Twilight's a big thing in my life too. So I understand that the book craze for Twilight was crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I will never experience that as an adult, of being so into a book the way I was into the Harry Potter books, just because of where I was in my attention span. I read all the time, but they're just gone from my brain the second they're over with. I don't. Yeah. Even movies, like it's been a long time since it kind of happened with Killers of the Flower Moon, but just go into a theater or whatever and just get
there.
Swept away, and I'm not thinking about anything other than what's in front of me. Yeah, I mean that is unfortunately just part of growing up, is losing that.
For sure.
Yeah. Drooby Dooby Movie. Tell us about your channel. Why should people subscribe to you? Everyone should subscribe to this channel. Fucking rules. But tell us a little more about it.
Thank you. I mainly do physical media like movie hauls and talk about my collection and go into more depth about my collection. I also try to do more like funnier videos dealing with physical media, and then I like to do rating videos and like top 10 lists and all that, and I just like to have a good time with movies. I describe them in a simplistic way, but also still diving into the important parts of that movie while keeping the conversation open and interactive. So, and this is my only channel too, so I don't have YouTube or anything, so this is it.
TikTok.
TikTok.
Is there a physical release that's coming out in the future that you're excited about?
I think it just released this month, but it was the Criterion version of the new Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio,
Oh, okay.
which is huge because that's a Netflix owned thing.
Oh.
So we don't get a lot of those popular streaming movies to come on physical media. Sometimes you get lucky. There's a site called Sloppy Second Films, and they will like literally like burn movies for you and stuff. But like,
what is this site?
Wait,
Tell me.
God.
Yeah, well, I don't. So I think sometimes they even take requests. I'm not for sure on that, but usually they have like they did the whole Mandalorian season. They do all this all these things that usually will not come to physical media. They will burn it for you and sell it to you for like a decent. No, it's not even that overpriced or anything. And from what I've heard, I haven't bought anything from them, but from what I've heard from my good friends, everything is a-okay, runs smoothly. And it's a good site. So
I would never buy from them either, but maybe my friend will.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. But yeah, no, the Pinocchio is hype. I'm excited. We're getting that, and I might check it out. I might wait until we get another sale because it's not on sale right now because it's a newer release.
Mm-hmm.
So I might wait till next year to grab it. But I think that's super exciting that we're getting that.
Yeah, I mean. Hopefully the David Fincher movie that just came on Netflix is going to get a physical release. It feels weird going on Netflix and just press and play on a movie like that. Did you watch that movie yet?
Yeah, I actually was able to watch that in theaters. I got pretty lucky with one of the theaters that's near me. They're kind of a smaller arts theater, so usually they kind of get some of that stuff. So I was able to check that out in theater, and it was very good. And I heard that David Fincher wants to release it on physical media, but he obviously has to get the okay from Netflix first.
Yeah. We watch it on Netflix, and when you watch it on Netflix, it is just weird because you feel like you're just watching anything else. You feel like you're watching a TV show, and that takes like 5 minutes to get over. Whereas if you go see it in a movie theater, you're like, well, I'm watching a movie.
You're so much more affected by that than I am, though. Quality of things doesn't.
I get it though, because like you kind of get in, like when you go into a streaming service, you kind of get into especially if you're going to watch a streaming service movie, like it's not even just any movie, it's a Netflix movie. You kind of go into it thinking you're going to, I don't want to say get garbage, but
it's disposable.
You know it's not going to be, it's not going to be the best ever. So when you turn on a David Fincher film, you're like, holy shit, like this is David Fincher.
Yeah, if I'd paid $4 to watch it on Vudu, like it would have felt different. But for it being on Netflix and just hitting play and it just
giving it away. Respect yourself, Fincher.
Yeah. They should have definitely gave it more of a theatrical run because they did that with a couple of things last year, like Bardo and it's not Knives Out, it's the second one.
Glass Onion.
They did that with that last year, and they released it for like a month and a half in theaters, and I thought that was a really good move. I mean, you're making money in the theaters, and then when you release it on streaming, it already has a lot of buzz on it, so it'll probably be popular.
Yeah, and when movies go to theaters first, they are then more successful on streaming because the people are aware of it. Yes,
you're
leaving money on the table. I don't get it. I have conspiracy theories, but we don't have to get into that.
God, it's a whole other podcast. Can I do my film talk? Thank you.
Yes.
All right. This is my new tradition is me saying thank you to people in Film Talk that have been particularly wonderful and opening and welcoming and have good content. I support them and you should too. And that today is Cinema Coconut. His name is Jay. He loves movies and he's funny. And he does reviews and makes funny things. He does TikTok with movies.
What else do you need?
In conclusion,
we have a TikTok. We're load.bearing.beams on TikTok, where Lacey makes funny animated videos.
I do other things.
And other things.
I do weird smash-ups.
We're Load Bearing Beams Pod on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to the audio podcast on Spotify or Apple Music.
Please go rate us on the fucking thing with the thing. Please?
Please do that.
We need a rating.
Fuckers.
Trying to get our listen score up, man.
We're Load Bearing Pod on Twitter, Load Bearing Beams on Instagram. The music on this show is by my band Rural Route 9, including the song you're hearing right now. Our album is The Joy of Averages. You can hear it on Spotify. Thank you so much. Drew, thank you so much. We had so much fun talking to you.
Thank you. I had so much being here. This was so much fun.
Yay. Drew, I love you. Bye.
3, 4. Everybody, look Americans, look Americans.